on how much data structures do we use on a day-to-day basis. It is basically a comparison between how much we learn versus how much we use as software developers ourselves. So since there is this disconnect, I want you to comment. Let's take the example of you. You are working as an SD2 at Amazon. So how would you say how much you use data structures as an SD2 at Amazon? A very important question. And this probably is the most important question anyone can ever ask to you. So how much is your salary at Amazon?
How much is my salary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Namaste, good evening. Welcome to Tech Junkie with an O. Welcome to episode 5th of Tech Talk with Experts. And we have with us Mr. Pratik Singhal. Pratik here is an SD2 at Amazon. He is a data structures and algorithms advocate and also the founder of an initiative called Prep for Tech, which helps students and aspiring software professionals with resources and the knowledge required to get into big tech companies. So Pratik, welcome to Tech Junkie. Thank you for being with us. Now, that was a very brief information that I could salvage out of your LinkedIn profile, but it would be great if you could talk to us about your background, about where you come from and how did you get into IT. It would be great. And then we could start getting into questions that would form the crux of the discussion.
Hi, Srinandan.
Over to you, Pratik.
Hi, everyone. And thanks a lot for having me here. And yeah, so about my background. So I come from a normal family only, and I grew up in Delhi, and I did my BTech. I don't have any MTech or any such degrees because after BTech I could not study. I realized that I could not study more. So I did my BTech from BITS Pilani. It's in Goa, from Goa campus. And thereafter, after that, I directly started at Amazon from 2017. So since then, I have been working at Amazon itself. And over the course of past four and a half years, I tried multiple things. So apart from Amazon, also I tried my hands at open source contributions, and I try to develop some products also on my own. Few for hobby, few as hobby project to learn new technologies, and few I try to sell as well. And they have been working at multiple places as well. So that has been my whole journey, and yeah, that's all. And I had no interest in coding, by the way, before until my second year. Till that time, I had no interest in coding. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point to bring. It will help motivate people who are not into coding too much to even start looking into a prospect at getting placed at big tech companies as well. So Pratik, you said you have tried multiple fronts, you've tried on multiple areas, and now you're working as an SD2 at Amazon. So talk to us about this initiative called Prep for Tech. You are also a DSA advocate. You talk about the importance of data structures and algorithms, and that has formed the very basis of Prep for Tech. And I have gone through the portfolio Prep for Tech, and it has got an amazing portfolio. You have had students and working professionals who have got experience and post their course, post their duration with Prep for Tech. They have skyrocketed their CTC and their career by getting placed at multiple big tech firms. So talk to us, like, how did it occur to you that you should be starting an initiative like Prep for Tech? What were the challenges you faced that made you take part into this?
Yeah. So mainly I was, when I was in college, right, I was more into development. So I was, at that point when I was in my second year, I somehow got the idea that, I should get into operating system development. So me, along with a lot of my friends, we went into operating system development. We used to develop a lot of applications also using C# and .NET. So we were very bad at DSA. So we were like, we had this typical hate towards DSA at that time. If we are good at development, why should we do DSA? Right? Okay. Why? How can few people learn few questions from some websites and then crack the interview while we are developing OS? And why should we study all of those things? So that was my attitude, and eventually I had to study for my placements, DSA. But the way when I started studying, like the way the approach that I adopted for studying DSA was completely different what my peers were doing. And I found that approach to be very good. It brought me results also, and most importantly, it made the overall preparation process very entertaining. So I never felt that somebody is forcing me to prepare. It was as if I was enjoying it, and even if there were no placement, I would have still done the same. So at that time, I used to take classes also in my bits. So I used to take classes for junior along with a lot of my friends. So we were a group of 4 friends. We used to take classes on development topics, on DSA topics. Like so, the same idea I got around in 2020, as actually in 2019, and at that time I was seeing that a lot of people struggle with DSA, and people have talent, right? Like let's say you are very good at React.js, but you are afraid of DSA, and you are afraid of DSA because on LinkedIn, on YouTube, a lot of people are there who have said that do these sheets, do that sheet, do these 100 questions, get into Amazon, do these 50 questions, get into Google, right? So people are doing with that kind of mindset. And I found it to be totally incorrect, because if you do it in that way, right, you might get into Google, you might get into Amazon, but you will not have any improvement by doing DSA. And most of the times you will not get any result also, because this is a very very hacky way of preparing for interviews. So at that time I started this initiative, and I knew that I was good at it. I was good at cracking interviews. I had the aptitude developed it as well. So I thought that why not start a boot camp where everybody is able to learn and people should be able to get results. So that's why I started live boot camp. Otherwise I thought that put it on Udemy and make a lot of money, publicize the recorded code, but I thought that it won't be useful. I might make a lot of money, but it won't be useful for people because people hardly complete Udemy courses. So that's why I started this live bootcamp initially with batch of two people, because I wanted to test it out. Then we scaled it up, and now we are running it on batches of 20 to 25 people. And every month we start a new bootcamp batch.
Congratulations on that, Pratik. It is a massive growth, and I'm sure it will scale up. So, a quick question on that. So, how long do you plan to do this? Currently, maybe we can bring this up and say that since it's work from home that is going on, and that helps you aid with this process. But since this is also an initiative that has helped a lot of people, and you have basically laid out a path, laid out a roadmap for all these aspiring software developers as well as college graduates. And it has helped them tremendously, so much so that now they have jumped from where they were and compared to where they are now. It is a massive difference. So how long do you plan to do it? And do you intend to collab with other people or other edtech platforms? What do you have in vision in your mind?
So right now I want to continue it for as long as possible, and I'm definitely not going to stop it. So what happens is I work as well, right? I'm a software developer by profession. So what happens? My work is very hectic, and Amazon is famous for that. So
Yeah.
At least my team is good, but I don't know about others. But yeah, Amazon is famous for its very hectic work culture. So what happens is that every few days I get this urge that I will not start another batch because it's been too much, it's too hectic. But then I get few replies from students that themselves they are thanking that thank you for the course. It was really great learning for you. Every few days somebody gets placed, and then I'm unable to stop. So I have decided now I will never stop, because I cannot stop. Right? If so many people are messaging you randomly, then how can you stop? Just the other day, there was one girl in my boot camp. She messaged me. She had joined on last year, November 2020, right? And at that time, she could not watch the recordings. She could not attend the live classes because she was very busy in her work. She was also a working professional. And recently, only around 15-20 days back, she messaged that after watching the recordings, after completing the problems that I have given her, she has been able to switch to a better job and got a very good hike. So these type of things happen, then I'm like, I will never quit. I will keep on running. Even if I get 5 students, I will still take a batch and I will keep on running.
That's wonderful to hear, Pratik, and I'm sure that it will keep on going, given that it has brought so many success, not just to you, but to people around you as well. So, Pratik, the very basis of Prep for Tech focuses on data structures. And there is this concept, or there is this thought that goes around with not just students, but with working professionals as well. You can call it a curiosity, or you can call it insecurity, which basically focuses on how much data structures do we use on a day-to-day basis. It is basically a comparison between how much we learn versus how much we use as software developers ourselves. So since there is this disconnect, I want you to comment. Let's take the example of you. You are working as an SD2 at Amazon. So how would you say how much you use data structures as an SD2 at Amazon?
So we don't use data structures directly at all. In fact, throughout my 4.5 years, around 2 months back, I was working on a project, and there I wrote the DFS code for the first time. That was the only thing that I've used for data structures so far. But I think the way we are treating data structures, right, is not in a correct way. When we say that, we don't use data structures at Amazon, or we don't use algorithms at Amazon, or at any company, right? What people should understand is that you are not using the algorithm directly. For example, if you are having a shortest path algorithm, you will not use that directly as it is, right? Because obviously real world scenarios are not as simple as a graph. But whatever you have learned in that shortest path algorithm, that knowledge you will use. Okay, so it's like saying that, when you learn English, right, you learn a lot of things. You learn grammar, you learn what is a preposition, what is an article, you learn vowels and everything, right? Now I don't even know what is a preposition is right now, but all of that has helped me to talk to you in English right now. So I cannot say that I don't use prepositions on a daily basis, right? That would be wrong. So it's the same thing. And there's a reason why these companies focus so much on DSA. It's not that they are lazy. These things work. The whole idea is that we want to hire programmers. We don't want to hire coders. Okay, we don't want to hire people who know React. We don't want to hire people who know Android. We want to hire a person who is good at programming fundamentals. Because now you might be working on, let's say, Java. 3 years down the line, you might work on some different technology. If you're working on React.js right now, you might work on some different technology after 4 years, right? Some new technology might have come out. So if you're a good programmer, right, you will be able to pick it up. But if you are too much tied to React and you are not a good programmer, you just know copy paste work that you can just Google and search and copy, then you will not be able to pick it up. So that is the whole process. Think of it like a fitness kind of thing, right? If you are fit, then you can play cricket also, you can play football also, you can play badminton also, right? And you will be at a decent level in all of them. But if you are unfit, you are too fat, right? Then you will not be able to play either. You might hit a few sixes in your gully cricket, right? But you will fail when it comes to some league or something, right? So that is the overall point, and this process has been working. There has been a lot of hate and negativity towards this process, and I completely understand it, right? If somebody says that, just do these 50 questions and get into this company, and I'm unable to solve those 50 questions, then obviously I would feel very, frustrated, that why am I working on these things? If I can code an app, if I can code something, then why should I solve these questions? But the way we approach it should be different. Our approach should be on learning. Our approach should be on problem solving methods, on improving us. Don't focus on this 50 questions. Okay, right now there has been a lot of YouTubers who have come up and, they are just offering courses and sheets and whatnot. But that is not the correct approach. It might give you short-term results. If 100 people do that, maybe 1 or 2 will get results, but it will not get results for most of the people. I can say this because I have tried that in my second year, right? And it did not work. And it was very frustrating.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I vividly remember on one of the LinkedIn posts you had mentioned this, like DSA is, as you mentioned, it's like a fitness test. It could be compared to what Virat Kohli brought up as in the form of yo-yo test in BCCI. Correct. So passing yo-yo test doesn't make a person a better batsman or a better bowler, but it ensures that the person can last in the field longer, will be a better cricketer overall, and can last in the field. And so, to compare it to computer science terms, anyone who practices DSA, understands the logic, understands the fundamentals, becomes a better developer, and it can last in this industry, can be technologically agnostic, and can adapt to any technology in a more efficient way. Exactly. Yeah, Pratik makes a very valid point here, viewers, and this is something that should be noted by all of us. So, Pratik, bringing it to the next phase, I understand when we talk about the big tech companies like Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, all of them following this approach of having multiple rounds of data structures and algorithms. We also see this trend shifting to other companies as well, where they think that since these big tech firms are following this approach, we should help as well. But then again, it also falls towards the use cases, right? If you deal with a lot of data, if you deal with features and processes that affect millions of users worldwide, then it can be understandable that you want a candidate who can optimize the code in a much better and efficient way. But if your use case doesn't deal with that, if you are, let's say, working on cloud, or let's say working on a very front-end specific development project, then it doesn't really make sense for us to have multiple rounds of let's say checking whether the candidate can invert a binary tree or not, or reverse a linked list or not. And it can also be traced back to the way we have been focusing on our education system, like what we learned in school, we don't really apply in college. What we learned in college, we don't really apply in a professional sphere. And the same is being seen in IT interviews as well. Like what is being asked in IT interviews doesn't really correlate with what the software developer is going to work on a day-to-day basis. So would you agree, and would you say that there is some level of disconnect between what is asked in interviews and what goes on a day-to-day basis? Or is it just we are just overhyping this process because it doesn't work for a lot of people?
It's a very big question, so I would take some time to answer it. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So coming to the first point where you said that, companies, especially for front-end interviews, or, for people who don't require that much data intensive job, they should not go through the full round of DSA. At least they should not have at least 3-4 rounds or multiple rounds for DSA. So I completely agree with that. And like if somebody is there, I'm bringing somebody in my team for CSS development or for HTML, CSS kind of work, then I would not ask them to invert a binary tree. It doesn't make sense because they are not going to deal with that, right? I would rather test them on their CSS skills. I would rather test them on their HTML skills, on their front end skills. So I think companies are following that. So especially startups. So if you look at startups, right, and they are not taking that much advanced DSA test. If you apply for backend role, then they will definitely take. But for front end, they have not been taking. And I know this because I have a separate MERN course as well. So after interview prep, I thought that there's a demand for MERN as well, and a lot of people can get jobs through MERN. So I started a MERN course, and for that we have been providing placement support as well. So there I interact with a lot of HRs, I interact with a lot of people from other companies, and they don't ask DSA, and we also don't teach them advanced DSA. We only teach them basic DSA, arrays, linked lists, basic things, sorting, searching. So I think that every programmer should know, but advanced stuff, DP, graphs, that are not needed for front end. So definitely I agree with that statement. Second part is a little bit more controversial. Okay, so I don't agree with what other people are saying. I have my own opinion. My opinion is that I agree that you are not using it directly. You are not using the knowledge that you learned for interviews directly in your job. But when you go to any product-based company, right, the company has to evaluate you on such a way that you are building scalable products. Okay, because if a company does not build scalable products, right, they can crush in under 2 months. Look at what happened when TikTok got banned. When TikTok got banned, at that time there were so many TikTok clones going on in India, right? 20-30 clones were there. Out of that, how many are surviving right now? Very few. The reason being, after TikTok got banned, suddenly traffic increased so much. And at that point, if the person had not written scalable code, if they did not understand what is scalability and all those things, right, their app would crash. So as a product, I'm not any founder or I'm not any CTO, but if you think from their mindset, right, they have to be always on their toes. They have to build a product which is scalable. They cannot hire somebody just because he knows hooks in React or he knows some specific things in React. A certain level of knowledge in data structure is essential. And I would again say that, yes, I don't use that knowledge directly, but it has made me a better programmer. Definitely. It has imbibed a lot of skills in me which were not there. And that has helped me make myself a better programmer. Okay. And that is true for almost everybody I have met with. Okay. They may not use the directly skills. Like for example, for IIT JEE, we studied physics, we studied chemistry, we studied maths. Now at that time it was very ironical, right? The better you do in PCM, the higher your chances of getting computer science, right? And the less you are good at PCM, the higher chances you will have to do some MSc physics or some not that much sought after degree. But studying physics and maths at that time made my brain sharper. I did not get into IIT, but that preparation helped me make my brain sharper. That helped me increase my aptitude. So we have to treat it at that sense. And if you want to work at big level, right? If you want to improve your career, we cannot be like crybabies, or we cannot be just saying that industry practice is bad, this is bad, that is bad. The practice is there for everyone. If you approach it in the right way, then you will definitely succeed in getting through that process. But if you approach it with a very short term mindset that I will do this set of 50 questions, or I will do this set of questions in next 2 weeks and I will get into this company, then that is a wrong approach. Recently I got a message from a person on LinkedIn, and he said that his target is to do 700 lead code questions in the next I think 8 months. So I told him that, why are you taking so much pressure, right? 700 lead code questions will not guarantee you. What will guarantee you a better job is all round skills, little bit of development skills, plus around 80-100 lead code questions, commonly asked lead code questions, and sound understanding of data structures.
Okay. Thanks, Pratik. So Pratik made a couple of valid points. The first one was for companies that do not have that kind of use case for data structures heavy requirements. Companies should be focusing on, like Pratik mentioned, there are many startups that focus for front-end roles, they focus on front-end skills, more or less. And data structures, like Pratik mentioned, the way we focused on physics, chemistry, mathematics, it builds solid foundations, which at later point of time helps software developers build scalable application, which is what most companies target. So, and also viewers, Prep4Tech does provide courses for MERN as well, not just data structure. So I'll be posting the link to Prep4Tech website down in the description box below, and you should do check it out. So Pratik, my next question is, you have been working at Amazon as an SDE 2, but you didn't start as an SDE 2, right? You started as an SDE 1. Then after 2 years, you got promoted, and then you have been working as an SDE 2, and it has been what, around 4 years in Amazon. So talk to us, like, what are the responsibilities and the day-to-day tasks that you as an SDE2 have to go through, and how exactly is it different from SDE1? Because you are someone that has worked in both these roles, so you know end to end of what the expectations and the responsibilities are.
Yeah. So in Amazon, there's a set of requirements that you will get promoted to the next position only if you are performing at that level since a few months, since a few quarters. So when I started at SD1, when I joined Amazon, at that time, the expectations were a little different. So expectations were that, the scope of the project will be clear. And then as a SD1, we would work on some subcomponents, some small problem. Like, for example, you are developing a storage solution. Right now, as a SD1, you will not work on the whole storage solution. Maybe you will work on just the persistence layer, or you will work on just some other small component. Okay. As a SD2, you are expected to take more ownership. Okay, ownership in the sense that you are responsible for a particular component. As a SD1, you are responsible for your own work. Right? Like, for example, you are given a task, you publish the code review for that. You are responsible for that code review, whether that code is working or not working. It should not cause any issues in production, right? As a SD2, you are responsible for the product itself.
Okay.
Plus, as a SD1, you are not expected to that much know about various technologies. Plus, most of the times the roadmap is already prepared, the design is prepared. Of course, we contribute, everybody contributes at Amazon, irrespective of the designation. Our voices are heard and everybody can contribute, but you are not expected to prepare the design of projects. You have a design, you have a specification, you adhere to it. Right? You can voice your opinion, you can change it, but that is not expected of you. As a SD2, you are expected to design the products. Like, for example, what database I have to use. I have to decide on that, and I have to bring alignment amongst everybody. Decide does not mean that, I have some autocratic rule going on that I will decide to use MySQL and everybody will use MySQL. Right? It's not like that. So I have to prepare a, kind of list of pros and cons, evaluate different options, and then bring the whole team to alignment that, okay, we are going to use this for this project. This should be the architecture. So it's about alignment. It's more about mentorship also. As a SD1, you don't mentor people. You are mentored by others, right? As a SD2, you are mentored also, and you mentor other SD1s also for their career guidance, for their career growth. That has been the main difference. And at Amazon, one of the main differentiating factor, and that I really like, is ownership. You have full ownership of that component or that sub component, right? So in SD2, your scope is more. You are working on more advanced components, and yeah, definitely you can work on full components as well. If, let's say, you want to get promoted to SD3, or you are targeting senior SD role.
Okay.
That is
okay.
the difference. And yeah,
Pratik, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's a very open culture. So it's not like, you are SD1, so you will do this. You are SD2, you will do that. You can do a high level of work also. It's not like as a SD1, you cannot contribute to these decisions, but it is not expected. And certainly, if you want to become SD2, Amazon has a policy that you have to work at a SD2 level other people have to certify that you are working at a SD2 level for certain amount of time. So eventually you will take up more responsibility and you will transition into SD2.
Okay. And just to understand this, how much coding do you do as an SD2? Because a general assumption that people carry about software developers at Amazon is that they code all day long. So compared to an SD1, how much coding do you do, or is SD2 just is the same as SD1 plus additional responsibilities like you mentioned?
No, it is the same. It is the same.
Okay.
It is the same. It's just that as a SD2, you will spend some more times, talking in meetings. If let's say there is some alignment that needs to be brought about, you will spend some time there. You will look at requirements more closely. You will work with people outside your team as well. As a SD1, you are shielded from those responsibilities. So many times it happens that there are teams in US, there are teams in other areas as well, right? So you have to communicate with teams because we are developing a global product, and that global product has to work. That global product has a lot of different small products. So right now the project that I'm working on has 20 small projects, and all of them are in different time zones. Some are in US, some are in Europe, some are in India time. So you have to coordinate amongst that, and you have to bring alignment across teams as well. So SD2 is mostly about that plus coding. SD1 is just about coding. As a SD1, you are shielded from all those responsibilities because you have a SD2 or your manager taking care of that. But as a SD2, you have to take care of these things.
Okay. Pratik, I have got a very important question, and this probably is the most important question anyone can ever ask to you. So, how much is your salary at Amazon?
How much is my salary?
Yeah.
Okay. So you should never ask a man his salary and a woman his age. Okay. That is a very strange question. When I said that you are asking very important question, I thought it would be something else. Okay. So salary is okay. It's neither too high. It's enough to survive, and it's not that high to dwell into luxuries. And as you know, taxes are so high in our country, right? So I'm just making enough, earning decent enough after taxes. That's what I would say.
Okay, you heard him. You heard him, viewers. So just about enough to survive after paying the taxes, and that is pretty much one of the main questions that people tend to have for people working at FAANG or any big tech organization. So, okay, Pratik, moving on. Now we have remote work going over, and recently there was this trend going on LinkedIn where a certain section of people vouched for remote jobs, remote opportunities. And when I say remote, I don't particularly mean work from home. What I mean is jobs that involve working for companies that are not based out of India, but rather based out of Europe and European countries. And there was this other section of people that said that yes, while working from home is fine, but there is this divide because when you're working for a company that's based out of India, that company takes care of your taxes, that company takes care of your compensation. So you don't have to fill out the process of going after the tax because the compensation is now structured in a way that you now know how much tax you have to pay. But when you're working for a remote-based job for a company that is not based out of India, you've got the hassle of structuring your tax yourself, and of course there is this insecurity whether or not your job will stay. So where do you see yourself on the two sides of the debate? Where do you see leaning yourself towards?
So I would say it depends on what stage of career you are in. Okay, because like whatever people write on LinkedIn or whatever people post on LinkedIn, I would take it with a pinch of salt, because most of them are most of the times people give out general advice that remote is good or remote is bad, FAANG is good or FAANG is bad, or startups are good, startups are bad, right? But you have to take that with a pinch of salt, and you have to evaluate your situation and then take that advice. Okay, because your situation might be different from what other person situation is. So I would say that it depends. If you are early in your career, let's say less than 4 years of experience, then I would suggest that go for a company which is India based. Okay, don't go for remote work, because remote work might even give you better salary. You might stay at your home place, hometown, right? With your parents, you might eat home cooked food, right? It all sounds great. But the biggest problem with remote work is there is no mentorship. Okay, at early stage of the career, mentorship is very important. Like when I joined Amazon, right, there were a lot of senior SDs at that time in our team, right, and I learned a lot from them, right? The way they interact, the way they communicate their thoughts, their written documents. Plus, we used to have a lot of just random discussions about technologies, about different stuff going on in the world, and that has taught me a lot. Okay, and that thing is completely missing in remote. In remote, you cannot just start ping somebody and just start chatting. कि चलो आज MySQL के बारे में बात करते हैं, या what did you use to work, या आपने इस प्रोजेक्ट में कैसे स्केल करा, how did you scale in this project, right? We cannot talk those things on in remote. Everything is about work. You have a Zoom call, 15-20 minute Zoom call, you talk about work, you then get out of that Zoom call and start working. There is no mentorship factor involved, and in the beginning if you don't have mentorship, then you will suffer later on, right? Second thing is, remote work may communication skills will be affected. That is what I feel, because a lot of communication skills that I learned were being around great people in office, and this includes both verbal communication and written communication. In remote work, there's not much communication, right? So your communication skills will suffer. And this remote work culture, I think it will not stay for long. That is my opinion. uh, it might stay for few big tech companies, okay, they which have already set processes, and work is also not much. But in case of startups, you will definitely not have remote work culture. And already on Twitter or LinkedIn, if you follow a lot of founders, you will see that people are not that happy about remote work. So I would say that go for in office work once you are at a career stage, right, where you feel that uh, I'm just happy where I am. I don't want to work very hard for the next few years. At that point, you can switch to remote work. But at this point, everybody should go for any company in India itself. That is my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That sounds quite to the point, and to the opinion of what any experienced developer would say, suggest, because a lot that we learn is from the office space, when we are surrounded by people, like-minded people who are of the same domain and expertise, and the amount that they get to bring in a space where we co-work is a lot more than what they get to bring when we are all working from home, just sitting in front of laptop and connected through Zoom or any other meeting client. Yeah, sounds great, Pratik. So I can't help but imagine, since you got into Amazon through campus placement, how different do you think your career would have been had you not gotten placed at Amazon, maybe some other company, or maybe some other company through off-campus placement? You have gotten so far ahead, and you have started Prep for Tech. You have helped students. You have helped working professionals. How different do you think? Would you still be continuing with the processes that you have been involved with? How different do you think your career would be?
I think it would be completely different. That is what I feel, because over the past 4.5 years, right, I have learned a lot, and I have seen that why Amazon is the way it is, why it is such a big company, what has made it so big. And these are the internal processes that they have, the great work culture that they have. Although some people would say that their work culture is not great, and that is what I had heard before joining also, but I did not find any such thing. All the people, whether it is my managers, I have worked with a lot of managers as well, everybody has been very cooperative. People have been very supportive as well, and my career would have been like a lot different. That's I would say. And because again, the kind of company that you work in, right, that affects you a lot. If you're working with smart people, then you will be tempted to learn, you will be tempted to keep on upskilling yourself, right? But if you are not working with that much smart people, or you are working on a projects which are not much scalable, then your thinking would be affected in that direction. We are, there is one quote or something, that we are a sum of 5 people we work with or we spend time with. So if you are spending time with good people, you are working on good projects, and you are earning decent money also, then that is the best case scenario. And the kind of projects that I've gotten to work at Amazon, they have been really great. uh, I have been involved in projects which are doing billions of database transactions on a daily basis, and I have scaled those projects as well. So the kind of learning that I got has been amazing, and the kind of confidence boost that you get when you work on a good project and you are able to succeed, right? And your peers are also supportive. The kind of confidence boost that you get as a developer, as an engineer, that is really amazing. And one of the early predictors that I use is that for judging any person, not judging, basically judging with how far a person can go in the career, is the amount of confidence that they have. And I feel that if you have the right amount of confidence, right, if you have the attitude, that the inherent confidence that, if any problem is given to me, I will be able to solve it by studying it, by learning from tutorials, by upskilling myself, then that will take you great ahead in your career.
Okay. And so what tips would you like to give to people who are currently going to get graduated from colleges, either from tier 1 or tier 3, who aspire to be working for a giant like Amazon? So since you were a part of that process, you have directly seen how the interview process goes for college graduates. What kind of preparation tips would you like to suggest for them?
So I would say number one tip: stay away from LinkedIn.
Stay away from
LinkedIn.
Okay.
And stay away from manufactured controversies, which are designed to increase views, or on both the sides. Because no matter whatever controversy you create, right, it ends up boosting both the people who are involved in the controversy. Right, you might support one person, but the other person is also getting boosted. So don't involve yourself in any controversy. Don't talk on social media so much. Don't defend some people so much. And have an open mind and stay away from LinkedIn. Just focus on your preparation, because what happens is, right, and I was lucky that I did not have that option at that time, because when I was studying, right, LinkedIn was not that much popular. These kind of controversies did not used to happen, and we had a set roadmap. We had this book, CLRS Corman book was there, and from that I used to study DSA, and there was this Code Forces website. From there I used to practice, so it was very clear. What happens is, if you go to LinkedIn or if you go to social media, right, some people will advise this book, some people will advise that course, some people will advise this course. So you will end up getting confused, right? And you will not learn anything. So instead of that, just put your head down, stay away from social media, and work on yourself for the next 5 to 6 months. And if you want to purchase a course, purchase a live course or purchase a boot camp. Because with boot camps or with live course, right, there is an accountability. With recorded course, I don't know if it happens with you as well, but I have purchased a lot of recorded course and I have hardly completed 5-10% of it. Right? We just purchase recorded courses in impulse because they are so cheap, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, right? It's so cheap. You purchase, but then you don't complete it. But when you are in a live course, right, when some instructor is there who is, asking you every day, why didn't you join the previous class? Then you will join the class and then you will study. So that is advice. And just keep on working, and it doesn't matter where you are at right now, right? If you work on yourself, then you will 100% you will gain the skills. Okay, I have not told this to many people, but there is one incident, and at that time I used to feel very bad at that point. When I was in 12th class, I used to focus too much on physics, chemistry, math, because I had to crack IIT. I was focused on cracking the IIT exam. And in 11th and 12th class, we used to have C++ course in our school in CBSE curriculum. So I was very bad at coding in 12th, right? I was so bad that I think flunked in my pre-board exams. So out of 100, I got 30, 35 marks something. And at that point, my class teacher had written a note to my parents that, your ward has performed very poorly. So please switch him from computer science to physical education. Because at that point, the 5th subject was either physical education or computer science. So people who were considered intelligent were gone into computer science, and people who were considered not so intelligent or who did not have interest, they went into physical education. So I got so less marks consistently because I was not focusing at that time, right? And I didn't used to understand many things. Like our teacher used to teach us pointers, but I did not understand pointers at that time. I did not understand a lot of things. I did not even understand something as simple as linked list, right? So I used to flunk in every exam, and they had written a note, and they had given a notice kind of thing also, that ask your father to sign on it and switch yourself. They were deliberately forcing to switch to physical education. So I have that note, and at that time I felt very bad. But now after 9 years, I laugh at that note, and in fact I use it to motivate other people. That if I can flunk in my pre-board exams in C++, and then I can open a boot camp for teaching and help people understand a lot of difficult topics, then I think everybody can do it.
It is indeed a massive inspiration for a lot of people because I was about to bring this up, and thankfully you brought it up. I am trying to relate to it because a lot of people, a general assumption that people in India especially carry, that if you are someone who's working at Microsoft, Amazon, Google, any of the big tech companies, you either were a topper at school or are a genius or have a completely different brain, so to say, or are completely hardworking. And if you are not either one of these, especially if you are not good at studies, if you are not good at academics, then you cannot get into any one of these big tech companies. So since you said that your incident at 12th was somewhat of onto the different side, would you say that it was same when you were in engineering as well?
Yeah. So in engineering, I would say that in engineering, right, when I came to my second year, at that point, I tried for this Google Summer of Code, right, and I was very casual about it, and I did not prepare much for it. I tried getting into it, but I failed. Okay, and I was like, अपना तो होना ही है, और किसी का होना हो अपना तो होना ही है. And BITS Pilani Goa campus is famous for GSOCers. We get a lot of GSOCers. Okay, all over the world, I think we are in top 5 in college level. And in India, we are in top 2 or top 3 after IIT Hyderabad. So I was like, I'm a decent enough coder, so mera ho jayega. But it did not happen at that time, and that really motivated me to work hard and develop things. Plus, my peer group was also good. My friends were also good, and they were also, too much into coding. So we kind of coded together. We developed OS together. Just because we were curious about how operating systems work, we developed our own bootloader. We coded in assembly language also to understand stuff from very basic level. So that's another thing, that coding is more about doing, right? Many times people feel that, you will watch lectures, video lectures, and then you will learn coding. You will not learn coding after video lectures. You will learn coding by doing. And that is one of the reasons I said that, whatever bootcamp I have, even if 20 people join the bootcamp in every batch, I will keep it live. Because if 100 people purchase my course and out of that 100 people, 2 people are getting results, that is not good for me. But if 20 people join, or 20 people, 18 people are getting results, then that I consider as success. So that is why we focus on exclusively live classes. We don't give recording. Even if you pay us, we will not give. Because it's not about money, it's about the impact that is there. And
it is also about, it's also about forming the direct connection with your student. And if someone is teaching live, someone is sitting in front of you, you get that connection. You get to ask questions, you get to clear your doubts straight away instead of posting it now and then waiting for them to get back. And that is one of the prime reasons why boot camps have more success rate than recorded videos or recorded sessions all around the world. And which brings me to the second question about the campus preparation that you listed out. So we have understood, so far I have understood the importance of data structures, the essentials, and how much, if you are fundamentally good at data structures, how much it makes you a better developer in the long run when you start building scalable application. But Pratik, what about competitive programming? And we see this thing, especially with college students, college graduates, most of the college students live and sleep on Lead Code, HackerRank, Hacker Earth. And they keep practicing. Like you mentioned, one of the people that reached out to you on LinkedIn said that he has plans to solve some 700, 800 Lead Code questions. So, but we know that as software developers, generally what we do on a day-to-day basis does not involve competitive programming. It involves system design, it involves architecture planning, and a lot of elements that are far, far, far away from competitive programming. So what would you say about this whole debacle between DSA versus competitive programming? Like, how much balance should be there? How much students should prepare? How much the students should follow? Like, what is the limit?
So there are two aspects to competitive programming. Right? There are some people who are, really into competitive programming, like they are in top 50 of India or top 20 of India, right? Like, for example, red coders on Code Forces or top coder, right? So that is a level I don't think everybody can achieve. Like, you can achieve theoretically if you practice, right? If I start practicing, definitely I will achieve that level in few months, maybe 8 months or 1 year. I don't know. That is not a level at which you should aspire for, unless you really have a goal that, I want to get to that level, right? For example, you might want to clear ICPC. You might want to get into ICPC regionals or finals. Then you will have to work at that level. But most people don't have to work at that level. If your goal with competitive coding is to improve and to get a job, then you have to work at a lower level. I would say a medium level. Okay. So make that process enjoyable. And I would say that instead of focusing on lead code, right, I didn't even heard of this website lead code until I started my bootcamp, frankly speaking. Because when I started my bootcamp, right, I used to teach one-on-one, and that time people used to ask me that please suggest us questions to practice on lead code. And at that point I checked out that what is lead code. I never used lead code. Neither has any of my friends used lead code. Okay, now what I would say is that focus on competitive programming, but focus on medium level competitive programming. Okay, like for example, I use this website called Code Forces. It used to hold a lot of contests. Every week it used to hold one contest, one or two contests, and every contest used to have 5 problems, A, B, C, D, E in division 2. So my goal was to solve 3 problems in 2 hours. Now, if you are able to solve 3 problems in 2 hours, right, it means your speed will improve, because you have to think in those 2 hours. You have to code also in 2 hours, and plus uh, you have to get that green tick to solve. You need to solve all those test cases, so your solution has to be 100% correct. So that is something I would say focus on, because it would improve your speed. One of the things that I always tell in my bootcamp, right, in the very first class, I always tell is focus on improving your speed.
Okay.
Speed and concentration. Because what happens when I'm solving some problem on lead code, there is no time limit. I just have a problem in front of me, right? So if I see the problem and I'm unable to solve it, what I will do, I will get bored a little bit. I will check out my mobile. Somebody will message me. I will just open it. I might check out LinkedIn, that what new controversy has been created, right? So those things I would do, but that would decrease my focus. That would decrease my speed, and people don't realize how important speed is. See, given enough time, anybody can solve any problem. If I give you 5 hours to solve a problem, I'm sure you will figure out something, right? But you don't have 5 hours in an interview. In 1 hour, you have to solve 2 problems. And you have to code also, you have to explain, you have to communicate to the interviewer also what the solution is. You have to explain him also. You have to think also. So speed is very important. So if you are on Code Forces, if you practice competitive programming, your speed will improve. And that has happened with me. Okay. In my very first contest, I solved 0 problems.
Okay.
Okay. At the end of my second year of my college, I developed OS, operating system, okay, of my own, which was installed also on my machine. It was used to boot up also with a nice logo and everything. So I was very, very in kind of a good attitude that, I'm one of the best coders, or I am very good at coding compared to my peers. And then I went to Code Forces to do a contest, and I solved 0 problems.
Okay.
In the first 2-3 contests. So whole my attitude went down the drain. Because I was good at coding, but I was super bad at speed. I was super bad at getting the code right in the first attempt. If I tell you to print a linked list, or if I tell you to reverse a linked list, right, you should be confident enough. You should be at a level where you can get the code ready in 1 or maximum 2 attempts, not more than that. So having Code Forces helped me with that. Okay, having Code Forces helped me with all of these things, that get the code right in first attempt, because you have 2 hours, right? So automatically you become focused. There is one principle also that the amount of time a task takes becomes equal to the amount of time you have. So it's the same thing. If you are on lead code, you will take up a lot of time. But if you're on Code Forces, you will not take up the time, because you have 2 hours. So you have the pressure that in 2 hours I have to at least look at 5 problems and solve 2 to 3 problems. So that definitely helped me, and that was the single biggest thing that helped me, Code Forces. So that's why I say that just do Code Forces. Don't go to any other website. Don't do long challenges. I don't know what is the even point of long challenges. I did that in my college, but it did not bring me any improvement. Okay, in fact, if you check out my Code Forces profile, right, you will see that how bad I was. I will just see if I have it open right now.
Okay.
I can show you my graph also. So can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let me share my browser.
Yeah, it's perfectly visible.
Okay, so this was my graph. If you see, right, I started in 2014. I was in my second year. So this was the third year, start of the third year.
Okay.
So if you look at it, my rating was 1400. 1400 is the default rating that everybody gets. Okay. Then if you see,
Okay.
one contest and my rating went down, and it went so down, I was so, kind of disheartened that I'm not even able to solve a single problem. So after that, next time I tried was in September. From March to September, I did not do anything
Okay.
because I was so disappointed. I will not be able to do.
Okay.
Then I started, and then again, if you see, it's going down, going down, going down, going down till January.
Okay.
It went down because I did not have that speed. Even if I had the
Mhm.
theoretical knowledge, I did not have that speed. And then it started going up. So once I did a few contests, right, these 4 or 5 contests that I did here, these were the groundbreaking contests. I did not solve much problems there, but I learned that temperament. I learned how to think quickly. And after that, if you see, rating went up and up and up. Right.
Okay.
So that has been my learning. So that's why I always advocate do short contests. And for the boot camps also, I try to conduct as many short contests on the weekends as I can, because I know people are lazy, right? People are inherently lazy. I am also lazy, so people will not do it on their own, so you have to push them. So that's why this thing is there. Lead code is good. I'm not saying don't do lead code, but don't obsess over lead code, that I will solve these many problems, I will solve top 500 problems, top 300 problems. Don't obsess over that. You have to use lead code in a strategic manner. You have to use lead code when you are appearing for interviews. Like for example, let's say you are scheduled for a Microsoft interview after 3 weeks. So start doing Microsoft specific questions. Okay, treat lead code as a previous year
Okay.
question paper, kind of that thing. For preparing for
Okay.
exams, you will not practice just previous year question paper, right? You will solve problems from other books. So Code Forces is that kind of book. Previous year question paper you solve just few days before exams to get into that exam mindset, right? So use lead code as that instead of just depending entirely on lead code. And I think everybody has the time to do one contest. Code Forces holds one contest, so everybody can take out time. It's just 2 hours, right? Every week.
A lot of tips coming from a seasoned veteran like Pratik. So if I can summarize, the first is improve your time. Time is a very important asset. When we are attending or appearing for interviews, we are under a strict time limit. And because of that, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress builds up. So if you keep practicing solving problems with a specified time limit, you will know how to solve it in an interview as well. Improve your concentration. And like Pratik mentioned, go for short questions or medium-sized questions, not for long contests or long questions. And if you are disheartened that you are not able to solve, don't worry. Pratik was there as well at one point of time, and now he's working as an SDE2 at Amazon. So if you are in that zone, you will get out of it if you continue with dedication and commitment and follow the tips that Pratik suggested. So Pratik, one last thing. You mentioned you give a lot of tips for college graduates and college freshers, and I'm sure a lot of that can be applied for experienced professionals as well. But what about the software developers who started the career with service-based companies, who have been working with service-based companies for quite some time now, and they want to switch to a giant like Amazon or Microsoft, and they want to get into that space, but they have got some work experience with them behind them. So how do they go about the preparation? Do they start in the same manner as you suggested the college graduates to do in terms of data structure preparation? Or what should be the approach? Should they consider system design part as well? If you could shed some light, it would be great.
Yeah, so for working professionals, I would say focus a little bit on system design also. For fresher, for college graduate, right, the interviews are mostly about DSA. For working professionals, it would be about DSA. It would be about your work what you have done in your existing company. It would be about the kind of design skills that you have, especially if you have 3 years 4 years of experience, because then at least you should know basic design principles, right? So focus a little bit on that as well. Focus on design principles. Focus on these things. That is enough. Okay. And don't get disheartened. I don't browse LinkedIn that often, but over the past few days I've been browsing it, and what I feel is that there is a certain negativity that either you do development or you do DSA. So DSA has been made to be something like कि या तो होगा या नहीं होगा तुमसे, ऐसा नहीं है कि you can do it, you can learn it. So don't focus on those things, don't focus on people who say those things. uh, just focus on work hard, solve problems, understand the logic behind the problem. Like don't memorize the solution. Okay, if before 1 day before the interview you are memorizing some solutions, that is okay, that is understandable. But don't memorize the solution, understand the thought process. If somebody is using some process in a tree question, then understand the thought process. How will you think of that process? If a new question comes up, how will you think in the same manner? Focus on that aspect, and that is the main thing that I teach in my bootcamp as well. So my bootcamps are not just about theory, right? Theory anybody can learn. It's more about the approach that you take for a problem. So, and we have been quite successful so far. In fact, I know 3 people who even got a better CTC than me after attending the bootcamp. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so I was asking them for a referral, that just give me a referral.
Okay.
Okay, so focus on those parts. Those are important parts. Yeah, and like if you follow the right approach, right, don't box yourself that I have to clear in 1 month, I have to clear it in 2 months. And this was something I realized because earlier we used to have provide just 2 month boot camps, but now we provide 2 month boot camps, which are the live classes, plus we provide 4 month doubt support as well. Because it is understandable, right? If you are working, you will not be able to perform, you will not be able to practice that much. So you will take around 4 to 6 months, depending on how good you are and how much you are able to devote your time. So don't just time box yourself. Even if you don't get into a big brand name right now, if you get into that after 6 months, if you get into a dream company after 6 months, what's the problem, right? Companies are not going away. In fact, lots of startups are becoming unicorns. A lot of new companies and good companies are coming up. So focus on the skill, that's all.
Focusing on skills, focusing on system design, focusing on data structure, three of the some of the most important points that Pratik brought upon. And like I mentioned in the beginning, Prep for Tech is an amazing initiative that has been helping students, working professionals all around. And it is not just the structure and the content and the or if you are a working professional, you can take the course, you can be a part of the course. I have been a part of the course myself. So I've seen how Pratik and the course is structured, how easy and how the level of difficulty and the content of the course is structured in a way that even if you're not able to catch up with the videos or with the lectures, then you have the time to follow up and to catch up eventually in the coming weeks, because you have the bandwidth, you have the buffer with yourself. And of course, it is something that has helped a lot of professionals out there. So again, I'll mention the link to Prep for Tech website in the description box below. And thank you, Pratik, for all the wonderful and amazing tips, for sharing your journey with us, for sharing everything that you have been through in the last four years and more. And it has been an amazing time working with you, learning from you and with you. About the aspects of SD2, working as an SD2 at Amazon, about your life when you started up as a college graduate. So just one last thing, how can an experienced person, an experienced software developer, get into Amazon or a company like that? Because we understand that for college graduates, there are campus drives, there are on-campus, off-campus drives. But what about an experienced person? How do they get it to make that switch?
So I would say that first prepare for your interviews. Okay, get ready with your DSA part. Have some mock interviews done, and once you are sure that you cannot be 100% sure that you can crack the interview, but you are reasonably confident, right? 60-70% confident that yes, I will more or less crack the interview. Then take a referral from someone. Okay, now with the referral, it is most likely you will get an interview at least. So take a referral and then just appear the interview. That's all. And for asking a referral, like if you politely ask anybody on LinkedIn, then anybody will give you a referral.
Okay.
Right. So just politely ask for a referral, give your resume, give a little bit background about yourself, why you want to come into a particular company, and the other person will give you a referral. I have personally referred many people. Some of them have even gotten interviews, and few of them I know they have cracked it as well. Because see, the thing is that when any good company, right, any growing company, they are also in need of good employees. So the need goes both ways. If you as a developer want to work at a top company as a company also wants a top developer, right? So the need goes both ways. And if you check out any top company, be it Google, Amazon, Microsoft, or any good startup as well, there will be hundreds of vacancies there. That means they're not able to find good quality people, right? So ask for a referral, appear for the interviews, and if your profile is good, right, anybody will give you a referral. Because if I give you a referral and you join, I get a referral bonus. Right? So it's benefit for me also. So people will definitely give you referral, and then just join.
Okay, just join. And with that, we would wrap up this session. Thank you so much, Pratik, for your time. Thank you for the wonderful advices, suggestions, and for sharing your experience as well. It has been an amazing session talking to you, learning from you, and having the viewers walk your experience as an SD2 at Amazon. So would you like to add or comment anything before we wrap this video?
So I would just say one thing: stay off social media.
Okay.
I am personally very, kind of feel disappointed with how the things are going on social media, especially LinkedIn, because it's all just to sell few courses, right? If most of the people, like 90% of the people, I say, they are just out to sell you courses, creating controversies, giving opinions. I would say that listen to someone. I'll always listen to someone with a pinch of salt. Even if I am saying that, I would say that don't follow my advice also blindly. Think critically. You don't have to follow one person blindly. You can take something from this person, you can take something from that person, and work it out according to your situation, right? Don't change your strategies too often. Don't think that, okay, this bhaiya has said me to follow development, so I will follow development. Then 2 days later, some bhaiya says to work on remote companies, then start applying for remote companies. Then somebody else will say work on DSA. Then some other academy will come who will sell courses for 3-4 lakhs and then ask you to purchase those courses. So don't change your strategy often.
Thank you, Pratik. So stay away from manufactured controversies is the takeaway, is one of the biggest takeaways from this session. Thank you so much, Pratik, for your time, and we would definitely be looking forward to having you more in some more of our future talks with more content and with more discussion. And it has been a wonderful time interacting with you. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Srinath. It was good talking to you. I hope this will help a lot of people.
It will indeed, very much. Thank you, Pratik.
Okay.